What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports, back again with another one. NBA Finals going down Thursday night. Tomorrow. It's going down. It's going down. It's been a long time coming, seems like, man. It's been a minute since we last seen some playoff games, man. They need to do something about that, man. Boston Celtics been out for 10 days, and the Dallas Mavericks been out for 7 days. That's crazy, man. If Dallas would have swept Minnesota, they'd have been out for 9 days. It's been a minute. Hopefully, people ain't lost interest in the NBA. They might need to do something about that. You know, I know the Super Bowl, they have a 2-week break in between the conference championship games and the Super Bowl, but that's the NFL, man. You know, they've been going for what? Before that 2-week break, they've been going for like 19 weeks straight. So that little 2-week break, and they're playing once a week, man. You can kind of understand that, man, you know, where they got Super Bowl week, the hype leading up to the Super Bowl game. And I think they do it at a very high level, that being the NFL. The NBA need to do something about that, man. They need to do something about that NBA draft, man. I'm gonna do a video about that. They got a 2-day NBA draft. They got the NBA draft on Wednesday, prime time, first round. And then they got the second round coming on Thursday at 3 o'clock. I know why they doing that. They got the presidential debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump that Thursday night, so they don't want to go up against that. I understand that, but why don't you just do like you've been doing? Have everything on one day, like you've been doing. First round and second round. Because I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I watched the first round of the NBA playoffs, but the second round, I'm watching it, but then I'm not watching it like with the same interest. I might be doing something, have it on in the TV in the background. That type of stuff in the second round. I ain't just like watching it like that. But whatever the case is, man, that's what they doing. They trying to drum up interest. They trying to get people talking about the NBA for 2 days instead of one, I guess. But it is what it is, man. That's neither here nor there. Let's talk about the finals. The Dallas Mavericks will beat the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics are the prohibitive favorite. A lot of these experts are predicting that the Celtics will win the game, and I really don't know why. Yes, the Celtics have the more talented team. Yes, the Celtics have shown to be the better team throughout this NBA season. But they ain't been tested. They beat a crippled Miami Heat team, missing 2 of their top 3 best players in Jimmy Butler and Terry Rozier. They beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, who after Game 3 was losing out on their number 1 player offensively, and their top defensive player didn't play in that series at all, being Allen the center. Then they beat Indiana. Indiana should have won Game 1, should have won Game 3. Didn't execute at the end of Game 1, and then they blew an 18-point lead in the fourth quarter in Game 3. And also after Game, 2, their best player got an injury, and he was out. That being Halliburton. I think he pulled his hamstring, and it was a significant hamstring pull, and he was out for the rest of that series. So they ain't been tested. They done beat 3 handicapped teams through no fault of their own. They can only play who they play. If the other team is having a rash of injuries, ain't nothing they can do about it. But I think it's going to hurt them in the NBA Finals. Now, the Dallas Mavericks, on the other hand, have went through the gauntlet. They've been tested. They played, in a lot of people's eyes, a championship caliber team in the first round in the LA Clippers, led by 2 Hall of Fame players, James Harden, a.k.a. the Beard, and Paul George, a.k.a. PG-13. Beat them in 6 games. Now, Kawhi Leonard getting hurt in that series did help out the Mavericks, make no mistake about it, but they still took care of business and beat a very, very talented team. And then they had a guy named Russell Westbrook come off the bench, another Hall of Fame player. So they beat a good team in the first round. Then in the second round, they beat one of the most exciting young teams who had the best record in the Western Conference, a loaded Western Conference at that, Oklahoma City, led by MVP candidate Shai Gilgeous, who I think finished number 2 in the MVP race behind Nikola Jokic. And that's Nikola Jokic's 3rd MVP. He finished ahead of Luka Doncic, and that was a very, very competitive series, man. They could have won that series. Actually, OKC, I predicted they was going to win that series in 7 games. But they lost game 6 when they were up 17 in the second half. They were able to not finish off Dallas. Did execute well down the stretch. One of their best players did not show up in that series. Their center, out of Gonzaga, he didn't play well in that series, but they were still right there. Shea Gilgeous was a guy that was giving them consistent points, 30 points pretty much every game. And they got a very young team, very athletic team, a deep bench too, and they gave Dallas Mavericks all they can handle. If it weren't for the fact that P.J. Washington arguably was the best player in that series, hitting a bunch of clutch corner threes, Dallas Mavericks probably would have lost that series. But they was able to get by OKC 4-2 in a very, very competitive series that, in my opinion, could have won either way. Now, they went to the Western Conference Finals and beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Minnesota Timberwolves had just got through dethroning the NBA champions and Denver Nuggets in 7 games. And in a lot of people's eyes, were now the favorite to win the NBA title. But that didn't happen, man. Dallas dispatched them in 5 games, damn near swept them. It was up 3-0 and could have had a good chance to sweep them in game 4 if their 2 best players would have showed up and played well, that being Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. So they just been more tested than the Boston Celtics, and I think the Boston Celtics going to realize that you've been playing on the varsity high school football team. Now you done graduated, now you in your next game, you playing the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champions. You're going from high school to the NFL. And it's going to be a big, big jump. Now, I think they're going to give them a good series. Now, I don't think it's going to be some quick series for the Dallas Mavericks, but I do like the Dallas Mavericks to win the series in 6 games. I just think they've been more tested. I think they have the best player in the series. I think they have the better coach in Jason Kidd over Mazzulla. And I think they'll make the proper adjustments to defeat the Boston Celtics. Now, the Boston Celtics do have a lot of advantages in this matchup. They got 5 guys that can go for, really, they got 6 guys. They got 6 guys that can go for 25 points. You know, you got Jrue Holiday, you got Tatum, Jason Tatum, you got Jaylen Brown, you got Kristaps Porzingis, and that's key that they're getting him back. He didn't play at all in the first, the second and third round, he didn't play at all. He played in the Miami series and got hurt earlier in that series. I can't remember what game it was, but he got hurt in that series. But they didn't need him. Like I said, they were playing teams dealing with way more than what they were dealing with without Kristaps Porzingis. With all that being said, the Boston Celtics have Derek White, they have Jrue Holiday, they have Jason Tatum, they have Jaylen Brown, and they have Kristaps Porzingis, and they have Al Horford. All 6 of those players can go for 25 points on a given night. Now, they don't have a deep bench, but they got Horford coming off the bench, and they got Pritchard, who can get hot and hit some bunch of threes and push the pace, get to the cup and score a little bit, man. But he's not a guy that they really rely on a night in and night out basis to put up numbers. So they have a very thin bench, but their starting 5 is so lethal that they don't really need to have a deep bench because they can kind of rotate their starters in and out, and they always got some guys on the floor that can be number 1 or number 2 options. You know, when you're taking out anybody in that starting 5. That's how deep they are. Best starting 5 in the NBA, in my opinion. Dallas Mavericks have guys that are not as talented as the Boston Celtics. They have the best player in Luka Doncic. They have Kyrie Irving, who, in my opinion, is like Isaiah Thomas 2.0. I'm talking about Isaiah Thomas from the Detroit Pistons, the Bad Boys. Isaiah Thomas 2.0 with deeper range and more creativity at the rim. That's what I compare to Kyrie Irving to, man. Great talent. It's a shame that the injuries and the off-court actions probably have cost him being viewed as, the player that he really could have been if he would have just played more basketball. Put up better. He would have been able to put up more numbers. Being in more all-star teams, probably being on more all-NBA teams, and his resume probably be much, much better and much more closer to his talent level than it is. But with all that being said, man, he's a champion. Won a championship with LeBron James in 2016, so he knows how to get it done. He played with the Boston Celtics. He was supposed to be their savior. It didn't work out that way as he was dealing with injuries. I think he lost a close relative and his grandfather died. I think that played a part in the reason why he didn't live up to the expectation for the Boston Celtics organization and their fans. But make no mistake about it, man, this guy is a lethal scorer. This guy can get his shot off against any one defender, against any defense. He's a guy that knows how to create his own offense. He can shoot mid-range, he can get to the basket, and he can hit threes. He really had no weakness on offense. A lot of people say he's not a great defensive player, but I look at the defense that he played on James Harden in the first round was excellent. The defense that he played on Williams, the third option for OKC, was excellent. The defense that he played on and Ellis was excellent. So he is a tremendous, underrated defender. Not to say that he's Gary Payton, but he's not as bad as people make him out to be on the defensive end. Make no mistake about it. And it's going to be a great series, man. Great series. Great matchup. I just think that Dallas Mavericks have two closers. Jason Tatum is at this moment again. And he's going to definitely have to step up, man. You look at what he did the last time he was in the NBA Finals against the Golden State Warriors. The Boston Celtics was up 2-1. And at that point, Boston Celtics were the betting favorite to win the championship. But that's when Jason Tatum's whole game fell apart. Didn't do anything. Didn't play well at all after Game 3 as the Golden State Warriors won 3 in a row. And Steph Curry was able to win his 4th NBA championship. Jason Tatum must play better. Jaylen Brown in that series played well. He was obviously Boston Celtics' best player in the Golden State Warriors series several years ago. And he was their best player in this last series against Indiana Pacers as he carried them on to a 4-0 sweep over the Indiana Pacers. And he's coming in this series with a lot of momentum. He is a dog. That's what I like about Jaylen Brown. He's not as talented as Jason Tatum, but he's more of a dog, man. He's more of a guy that you can count on in big moments, and I think they'll be leaning on him in this Dallas Mavericks series. So I think in the fourth quarter, you could very well get Luka Doncic versus Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum versus Kyrie Irving, and which team gets their top two performers to step up in clutch situations, because a lot of these games are going to be close. I think that team will prevail, and I much have more trust in the Dallas Mavericks dynamic duo of Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving than I do of the Boston Celtics duo of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I have a lot of faith in Jaylen Brown, but Jason Tatum, he has not showed me to be that player to step up in critical and big moments. So he will have a chance to change that perception about him. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Now, Dallas Mavericks must get contribution from P.J. Washington. He's going to have to give them some numbers because, like I say, the Boston Celtics, they got 6 guys that can just go off. Derek Wright is very underrated, man. That guy's a great defensive player. They probably going to put him on Luka Doncic. They probably going to put Jaylen Brown on Kyrie Irving. They're going to probably put Jrue Holiday on Kyrie Irving. And they're probably gonna put Tatum on P.J. Washington, obviously, and they're gonna be looking to try to slow down the Dallas Mavericks. So P.J. Washington gonna have to continue to have a big playoff series, man. He's gonna have to do what he did against the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves. He played well against the Clippers too, man. He's had a great playoff run, that being P.J. Washington. He was a guy along with Daniel Gafford that the Dallas Mavericks picked up at the trade deadline. That was 2 great acquisitions by Mark Cuban and the Mavericks front office. And those 2 acquisitions have played a major part in the reason why the Dallas Mavericks are in the NBA Finals. So we will see what happens. And we will see what transpires. Now, Tim Hardaway Jr. has been a no-show in this playoffs. Now, he was coming off an injury. He came back in the Los Angeles Clippers series. He had a couple of good moments, but he still wasn't himself. And he's really been non-existent in this year's playoffs for the Dallas Mavericks. But they're going to need him to step up, man. They're going to need him to put some big numbers up off the bench, man, to offset that starting five that Boston has, man. Boston has a great starting five. Great starting five. So you know what you're going to get out of Luka and Kyrie Irving, but you need some other guys to step up to balance out what the Boston Celtics are going to be doing with their starting five. So, again, P.J. Washington and Tim Hardaway Jr. are going to be two key players, and I do believe both of those guys will step up and have big playoff series and help the Dallas Mavericks win their second NBA championship. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires, man. This is going to be a great matchup, man. If you believe Boston Celtics can win the series, you know, that's a good opinion. If you believe the Dallas Mavericks can win the series, that's a good opinion. This is not no series where one team is superior to the other team, in my opinion. Like I say, I do believe that the Celtics are the most talented team, but I do believe that the Dallas Mavericks have the best player in this series. And more times than not, if you got the best player in the series, you're going to win the series. This series kind of reminds me of, remember back in 1992, we had the Portland Trail Blazers versus the Chicago Bulls. We had Clyde Drexler versus Michael Jordan. The Portland Trail Blazers had a better roster. They had better overall talent than the Bulls, but the Bulls had the best player in that series, Michael Jordan. And he outplayed Clyde Drexler in a mighty way in that series. And that was one of the main reasons why Chicago Bulls were able to beat the Portland Trail Blazers 4-2, despite the fact that the Portland Trail Blazers had one of the best starting fives during that season. They had Porter, Drexler, Duckworth. Man, they had a deep team. Buck Williams. That team was loaded, man. That team was loaded. What was that small forward guy that could dunk real good? Was it Kersey? I think his name, Kersey. I might be butchering his name. That starting five, that was crazy. The Bulls had Jordan and Pippen, and they had, B.J. Armstrong and Cartwright. They had a decent starting five. You couldn't compare their starting five with the Portland Trail Blazers starting five, man for man. But it didn't matter, man. They had the best player in the series, man. They were able to win that championship. I think the same could be said for this series, man. The starting five, man for man, Dallas is at a disadvantage. But they got the best player in the series, Luka Doncic, a.k.a. Larry Bird 2.0, and I think he will carry the Dallas Mavericks to his first championship in the franchise's second championship, 4-2. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Who you like in this particular matchup? You like the Boston Celtics to hang up another banner? I don't know how many they got. I know they got a lot. What was it, 18, 19? They got them and the Lakers are by far the most prestigious franchises in the NBA, man. Both of those franchises are clear-cut above all the other franchises in the NBA as far as championship banners. And will Boston Celtics be able to host up another banner, be their first since 2008, when Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, The Truth, and Ray Allen were able to defeat the Kobe Bryant-led Los Angeles Lakers along with Paul Gasol 4-2. And they were able to win that championship 16 years ago. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. They'll be looking to win their first championship since 2008. And the Dallas Mavericks will be looking to win their second championship in franchise history. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Who you like in the NBA Finals. Give me your team that's going to win it, Mavs or Celtics, and give me how many games you think they're going to win. It's going to be 4, 5, 6, or 7. It's only 4 choices. Let me know your thoughts and follow me on Twitch at BriscoeJai 77071. Follow me on TikTok, JB Sports, New Media. Follow me on Facebook, Gerard Briscoe. I got 2 channels, at JB Sports 3303 and at JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend, 9656. And like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. And I holla.